Fishing trips anywhere, anytime. FishingBooker.com. Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy. Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.
Welcome to DSC's Campfires with Larry Weissoon, a unique blend of hunting, fishing, wildlife conservation, and the outdoor lifestyle. DSC's Campfires is brought to you by DSC, Conservation, Education, and Advocacy. Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Taurus, award-winning revolvers and pistols. Stealth Vision, high-tech, precision-driven equipment for today's modern hunter. Mossberg, American-built, American-strong. Vineyard Max, deer attractants created for the aroma of success, game feeders, and other hunting products. Red 55 Winery, signature wines from Emmy Award-winning country artist Miranda Lambert, owned by Rick and Beverly Lambert. And the Choctaw Hunting Lodge, home of some of the finest hunting in North America. Now, here's Larry.
I'm recording this on July the 9th. The Texas floods that hit the Texas Hill Country, which were so horribly devastating in so many different ways, and the loss of life that occurred, it is just beyond comprehension in so many different ways. Our prayers, our hopes go to those families who lost loved ones who were directly and indirectly affected by what happened there. Mother Nature is not always a loving mother, and sometimes bad things do happen, which was the case here. Fingers have been pointed as to why this tragedy occurred and how it could have been prevented. And quite frankly, being a walleye biologist, being somebody who has spent a fair amount of time in the Texas Hill Country and dealt with ranches and flooding situations and those kind of things in the past, the only way that anything could have prevented here is if there had been a ruling set up many years ago that says there will be no human habitation below a certain level of which there have been historic floods. This came during the night. Even any kind of warning systems, there would have not been enough time with how quickly the waters rose. And just our hearts and prayers go out so much to those, again, who are involved. And we pray for the souls of those who were lost, those folks who were lost, particularly the children. And we pray that those who are the survivors who are left behind from those families, that they can find some peace and some healing. They say that time heals everything. Having experienced deaths of friends and family, I'm not sure that time really lasts long enough to truly accomplish that. But again, our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody involved, directly and indirectly affected by the floods, and that includes those who so diligently gave up of themselves to try to help recover bodies, to try to help recover survivors who were stuck in trees on top of mountains, hilltops, and those things. Thank you all for your your love, your support, you're doing because of that. Things will be better. And I've learned something about Texas, having been or being about a ninth generation or 10th generation Texan, that we are a resilient people. We bounce back, and I know that in some ways we will, and in some ways we may not, but we will never forget those whose lives were lost in this horrible thing that happened. We do pray that none of these things happen to anybody else. Mother Nature, as I said, is not always a kind mother or a loving mother, and something that we must accept as well too. That we are part of Mother Nature, and things sometimes can go bad and go awry. But we please know that everybody that I know and everybody that I'm involved with and people that I'm not involved with are saying prayers for those people who lost loved ones. I'm going to try to keep this really short. I want your thoughts and minds to be with those, and your hearts to be with those who are suffering through all this. I do want to remind you that because of many different ways, there's so many different ways to contribute financially. Some of us could not be there to help as many others did physically, but there are many different organizations out there who will accept donations that will go directly to the people who are most in need of the money, the communities. It's not just the Kerrville community. It's that entire watershed that was affected, both up and down, and so many areas, so many people. But you can contribute there as well too. I do want to remind you that if you hear this before the 19th of July, we will have our DSC Gala. The DSC Summer Expo will have started will start, if you hear this earlier, on the 17th, and great place to be, and really need to support this organization for what it does for wildlife. I know that through the DSC Foundation that I've been involved with, there will be efforts made to help in terms of the wildlife as well. And I know that, too, there were pets affected by all this. And being that Rick Lambert happens to be the father of Miranda Lambert, and Rick is one of my dearest friends, through their Mutt Nation, they are working to help those pets and people with pets as well too through all this. So that said, but again, the DSC Summer Expo is going on from the 17th through the 19th there at the Gaylord Texan in Grapevine, Texas. And Saturday night there will be a auction to help support all the many great things that the DSC Foundation does relative to wildlife conservation, to education, and to a lesser extent to help with some of the advocacy that needs to be done to maintain and make sure that in the future we have wildlife, and to stress how important hunting is to the fact that we have wildlife. If there is no hunting, there will be no wildlife. There are a lot of reasons for that, but I always tell people, if you truly love wildlife, go out and buy a hunting license. Support hunters. Do everything that you can in terms of supporting hunting, because hunters pay for conservation. Hunters also are the ones who help control those populations so that we don't have huge die-offs. So as I mentioned, even with this flood, when this occurred, my wife and I had, and I keep coming back to that, and I apologize, but not too very long ago, my wife and I spent some time in Waco, Texas. Now, there are a lot of great things in Waco, including some of the things at the silos that they've been put up there in the last few years. But on the north side of town, there is a Columbian mammoth ground where back eons, many thousands of years ago, or several thousands of years ago, a group of females, of cows with calves, were trapped in a great flood, and they perished. And interestingly, I guess my wife and I visited this place not too very long ago, probably actually about the week before the floods occurred in Texas. And as all this was going down, I was trying to think about so many different things, but one of the things that came to mind was the fact that here was this group of at least 20 or more, which was probably a pretty good sized herd of the Columbian mammoth. Now, these were not woolly mammoths. The woolly mammoth was farther north, and the Columbian mammoth was actually the largest of the mammoths and the mastodons and the elephants of that era of a long, long time ago. And yet, this entire family group of cows and calves, they too died and perished in a flood. And many years we find the results of that and learn from it. But for some weird reason, I guess that's what kind of came to mind when this all happened in the Texas Hill Country. But to get back to the DSC Foundation Gala, it is going to be the 19th, which is a Saturday night here in July. There's so many different items on that auction that I know people are going to be interested in terms of adventures, both here and in North America and abroad, and guns and hunting. And this is your way to support conservation. DSC Foundation grants money. They're really kind of the granting arm of the Dallas Safari Club, or DSC, but they grant money to extremely well-vetted projects and programs. People apply for grants there, whether it's an institution, whether it's an individual ranch, an organization, or somebody that's doing research. And we go through those grant requests literally with a fine-tooth comb to come up only with those that are truly the best, where the money will go to its greatest use. Now, those that are granted money, they do have to file reports with us to show that they're actually doing something, and to let us know what they have accomplished and what they hope to accomplish in the future. There's a few of those projects that are ongoing that we continually, every year pretty much, donate to or grant money to, and then there are always some brand new ones that crop up that we grant money to. In the past, I've served as a director of on the board of directors, actually, of the DSC Foundation, and these days I serve as advisor, so I've still got a voice there. But that money that comes in, it's basically, we're volunteers. None of us take any money of any kind from the work that we do. That includes the directors or there's one other, Erica Gonzalez from San Antonio, also serves now as an advisor, and none of us take any money. And those things take up a lot of time with monthly meetings, and those monthly meetings sometimes become several day meetings. But this is an opportunity to support the DSC Foundation and all the great things that they do. And if you have any questions about what they do, you can go to dscf.org. That's dscf.org and learn more. We're working on that website all the time and adding things. And if you have specific questions, you can direct questions there as well too. And we'll do our best as an organization to answer those. But you can rest assured that the money that comes in goes back out. It doesn't go into anybody's pocket. We're volunteers, and we try to do our best to make sure that the money that comes in, that we so much appreciate from the folks who provide hunts and guns and equipment and fishing trips and adventure excursions and hotel stayings and all those other kind of things to our auction, that that money that comes in goes back out again for wildlife. It, again, does not go into somebody's pocket. But so please support it if you can. Now, and you can't be there, and it may be a little bit late for you to get there, but you can certainly support the DSC Foundation by going to onlinehuntingauctions.com and looking up DSCF Gala, and clicking on it, and you can register there to bid on those items. We've got everything from there's a desert bighorn sheep hunt with a Weems eye subspecies, I think, down in the Bajas, which is, according to most people who deal with desert bighorns, one of the most fantastic hunts you can have or go on. We've got hunts such as those that we're doing on the Choctaw, which is called the Choctaw McNabb, where hopefully in a day you'll be able to take an eastern wild turkey, an exotic with horns, which could include also a bison, and then catch a fish. It's one we're going to film for Sportsman's Life, whoever buys that hunt. Got a hunt coming up with Randy Flannery that's there on the auction items as well too. And like with even with the Choctaw hunt, I donated a Mossberg shotgun. Now with the Randy Flannery Wilderness Escape Lodge bear hunt in Maine, which will be in September, I'd asked Rossi to donate a R95 45-70 rifle, and then the fine folks over at Double Nickel Taxidermy, John Wilson and crew, donated the makings or putting together a bear rug. So, and both these are pretty much 100% donations. I'll be hopefully available for both those, planning on being on the bear hunt. Another hunt that we've got coming up will be in January, and that's going back down to Mexico for Coues deer on the El Durangueno ranch that Alonzo Ayala and his family own, and part of that, the amenities of that hunt is I've donated the 6.5 PRC Mossberg rifle that I used last year, put a scope on it, and used it down there to take the really outstanding Coues deer that I did. That's part of the package with the Trijicon scope that I put on it, a really great scope there. And then I'm also through Hornady donating 120 rounds of 6.5 PRC Precision Hunter. And then talked to the folks over at Conroe Taxidermy, and they're donating a shoulder mount. So these are kind of complete packages. There are a bunch of those kind of things that are available. There's all kinds of fishing trips as well, too, that are just unbelievable places, and several other outstanding hunts worldwide, and of course here in North America as well too. And again, you can bid on those by going to www.onlinehuntingauctions.com and look up the DSC Foundation Gala, and just you register there, and I think maybe even some of the silent auction may be available there as well too to be bid upon. But a great way to show your support to wildlife conservation, and particularly through an organization that does so much good for wildlife, not only here in North America but around the world, and to become part of that group, to be a contributor to it. It's really kind of a feel good thing, but it's one of those things that do good thing as well too, not just words. But so hopefully you'll have a chance to do that. Kind of stuttering around a little bit. My thoughts and prayers, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, are so much with all the people who are suffering from the horrible losses that we had in the Texas Hill Country, and we ask you to please pray for those, to families involved, and to continue praying for them. It's not an easy process of healing, but through prayer it is possible. And so I thank you very much for those prayers. Next time we get together, we'll try to do a little bit more on hunting, a little bit more maybe even on a fishing trip. Got a bunch of great guests coming up here in the next few weeks, and as we approach our 300th episode of DSC's Campfires with Larry Weishuhn, we'll find something that we can do as well to maybe a couple little special things in terms of giveaways and things like that we'll try to do to say thank you for all those great folks who are listening. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for our prayers for Texas. And we look forward to seeing everybody here next week, around our DSC campfire.
DSC's Campfires with Larry Weishuhn has also been brought to you by The Crown Bar in LaGrange, Texas, the Texas Wildlife Association, Double Nickel Taxidermy, and Burnham Brothers Game Calls.